Good morning. There have been wonderful expressions of collective gratitude during the pandemic. For example, people standing on the streets to thank essential workers such as frontline medical staff. What I'd like to encourage today, though, is a little bit more personal reflection about what you've come to appreciate during these times. Gratitude is about being thankful, so it includes things like appreciating other people, valuing being in the present moment. It also includes this sense that life is short and recognizing that often we are more fortunate than other people. If you have gratitude in your life, research shows that you're more likely to experience well-being, life satisfaction, you're less likely to be depressed, and importantly, you're also more likely to reach out and help other people and be compassionate towards them. It's a wonderful time to take stock of what we're grateful for right now, because we are coming out of a very unusual time, and I think it's a time where we've sometimes come to appreciate things that we used to take for granted. A colleague described how she hugged her dad for the first time recently and how wonderful that felt. And I personally have come to appreciate and value living in Perth. Many times I've complained about how far away Perth is from everywhere. But right now and during these times, I've very much valued the space, the beauty of Perth, and actually, ironically, its isolation. I've also had more time because of not commuting and because of not traveling all over the world. And it's been wonderful to rediscover the joys of gardening, which is a hobby that I've really abandoned in recent years because I've just spent too much time working. So I, for one, hope that as things move forward and go back to quasi-normal, that I'll remember these things that I've come to appreciate during this strange time. Research shows that people who are able to have gratitude after crises do, in fact, recover from those crises more successfully. So, for example, a study by Professor Barbara Fredrickson, who's a very famous emotions researcher. This study looked at people after the September the 11th terrorist attacks. And her colleagues showed that if people experienced gratitude, I guess, for example, being thankful for being alive or their loved ones being alive, those people were much less likely to get depressed. And another study in looking at teenagers after a major Chinese earthquake similarly showed that those teenagers who experienced gratitude after the crisis were better able to cope and in fact grow. So these researchers linked gratitude to post-traumatic growth, which is this idea that after crises, sometimes we develop in new ways as a person. So I think that reflecting on what we're grateful for now can help us not only to make sense of this crisis, but also to really establish what's important in our lives. So how do we do that? There's been a lot of research on what are called gratitude interventions, and 3 quick thoughts. Number 1, reflect on what you're grateful for. So some of these interventions simply ask people to reflect on 3 things that they're grateful for every evening for a couple of weeks, or maybe once a week for a couple of months. And research shows that people are able to do this, experience better well-being, and it becomes a little bit more habitual thinking for them. Number 2, express your gratitude. So research often does something where people write a letter to someone that they appreciate in their life and then deliver that letter and read the letter out, in fact, to the person. Now, we don't necessarily need to go that far. Simply saying thank you and telling someone that you appreciate them and why you appreciate them can have an impact not just on them, but also on your own well-being. And number 3, recognizing that being grateful isn't about trying to get rid of feelings like worry and frustration or sadness. Those are completely normal reactions, and most people have positive and negative emotions at the same time. But gratitude can help to just counterbalance the effect of some of those emotions. So it's not about, for example, if somebody says to you, I'm really fed up with my job at the moment. It's not about turning around and saying to that person, well, you should just be grateful you've got a job, stop whinging. That's not going to be helpful. But it's just about recognising that alongside worries and things that people have, it can be helpful to also recognise what's important and valuable and what you are thankful for. Life is short. The pandemic has reminded us very acutely of this. So reflecting on what you're grateful for might help to counterbalance some of the negative emotions that you may be experiencing at this time. I'm going to spend a little bit more time in my garden and a little bit less time working.